What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Hands-On channel and gals. I know there's at least one or two gals that watch my show, and I appreciate every one of you guys. And I've been really introspective here lately, and some of the things I've kind of been forced to be introspective. I tend to get this way around tax time every year because, it's so depressing when you have to do all the tax stuff and fulfill these obligations, and especially now that we're learning more and more at what they're finding out. It's most people, I think by now, things have changed enough just in the time frame since I've started the channel here back in 2018. That was 7 years ago now, I guess, around that. I think it's more like at the end of the year, because I don't think I started the channel. I believe I started the channel and I didn't put any videos up for about 3 or 4 months, but then toward the end of the year I started actually posting. And I'll be honest with you guys, I had to call some people that I kind of reacquainted with, an old buddy of mine that I hadn't seen since high school and stuff, and or shortly thereafter high school. I reacquainted with him, and I heard he had a little bit of a he dipped his toe into the YouTube waters, and I knew that he knew a little more. He knew a lot more about it than I did, and so I asked him what he thought about my idea about making this, how-to and DIY type series, and where I just do the things, that I'm doing every day, all the little different chores and activities that I do that I think are really easy, and my wife encouraged me to do it as well. She was like, oh my God, and part of this, I'll tell you the truth, it's about my own personality. I love my daughter to death, no doubt about it, but she was not interested in any of the stuff that I do, mechanical wise, and that's fine. I'm not, but I really didn't have anyone to pass my knowledge down to. And so YouTube gave me this avenue, this way of reaching people that maybe I could be a father figure to someone out there that is wanting to get into mechanical stuff and learn how to work on their own things. I think it's really powerful. And then that kind of played into prepping. And because I am a prepper in real life, I don't show you guys or portray any images or anything that is not genuine me, because I've made videos, a couple of different videos about authenticity and, are you tired of fake people? And of course, when I think about that most recent video, are you tired of fake people? I think it had like 250 views. And to be honest with you, it's statistically impossible for my subscriber count to be as high as it is and my viewership to be as low as it is. And you guys, I know some of you guys have heard me kind of complain, maybe even say bitch and moan about the circumstances that are here present on YouTube. And you've suggested things like, hey, go over to Rumble. Well, I tried that and it just petered out, man. I didn't have any traction over there. I couldn't, I think if you have a big name like Tim Pool or maybe, what's his name, Steven Crowder, yeah, you're going to pull a lot of your audience over because you're a big celebrity, right? But I'm not a celebrity, and I don't want to be a celebrity. See, that's the other weirdness about this situation. I am a very private person in real life. I'll talk to people that are in my friend group or my trusted family circle that I talk about, deep topics like we discuss here. But otherwise, I'm very private, and I don't like my information being out there. I'm so private that when these people, when you go into these stores and they're insisting that you do some sort of an app or something so you can do business with them, I refuse to do business. I'll just leave the store and go somewhere else. I just won't play that game. I don't like it, man. There's some places you guys know that won't even take cash anymore. Our system is changing before our very eyes. And so my original intent of the channel was never to discuss very divisive politics, okay? It was never to do that. It was never to divide. That's never what I wanted to do. I wanted to bring information to people. It was a really good, pure thing. Oh, this kitten is distracting me. I've got a kitten that just showed up on my doorstep like, I don't know, a week ago, and the cat won't leave. We're of course, my wife and I have been petting the cat, and we feel sorry for it, so we've been feeding it. So of course it's going to stay around. But I'm like, I've asked all my neighbors. Nobody knows. Probably somebody dropped it off, and we're compassionate enough people. We don't want the thing to go to a kill shelter or something. So, it's like, okay, I guess we got another cat, but it's not going to be an inside cat, that's for sure. So anyway, back to the story at hand. I'll try to remain focused on the task here, but this cat is over here rubbing all around on my stuff. I guess it's going to be a shop cat. Come here. Come here. Kitty, kitty, kitty. Come here. Now she don't want to be on camera, but I'll show her to you in a minute. But anyway, I've been just thinking about a lot. And really, what I wanted to really talk about is that YouTube has been, the hands-on channel has been a grand experiment, okay? I've been experimenting all along the way because I have no idea. All I've ever tried to do is make videos that I think I would like to watch as a viewer, right? You know, so I've tried to throw some humor in from time to time. You know, I've tried to talk about deep and serious topics that are honestly forbidden topics. And I didn't know, and they weren't at the time when I started, but then they became forbidden along the way, right? That's how it happened. And I think you guys all smell what I'm stepping in. I wasn't talking about politics until the COVID tyranny came along, okay? When people started acting like they were just willing to accept full frontal authoritarianism, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I had to say something, okay? The rage, my fury inside, if you know what I'm talking about, the rage inside of me was building up to a point that I'm like, if I don't say something, well, I was just worried people weren't going to know. People weren't going to know what the other side of the equation was. And so then that's when I first got into trouble with YouTube, and they started banning my videos and, you know, giving me warnings, giving me strikes, you know, taking me off of there where I couldn't upload a video for like 2 weeks or whatever, and, you know, putting me in the dunce hat in the corner, basically, for having a different opinion than the mainstream narrative. And I'll be honest with you, I've always been the kind of guy, and I don't mean to be this way, it's just my nature, that especially if it's something that is unjust or unproven, if you push back hard enough against me, I automatically assume that you're covering up the truth. You don't want the truth to be out there. So then I tried to start finding ways, you know, and I'm not very good at being subtle. That's just not my personality or my nature. I'm very to the point, direct, you know, and I think my directness and my inability to be delicate about certain matters has probably turned a lot of people off on the channel, no doubt about it, because I talk about things that are hard to hear and hard to, you know, hard truths that I think need to be out there. And when this first started happening, okay, when the COVID came on, I talked to my wife for like a week about it. I'm like, man, I got to say something. I can't let this go. I can't let it go. And other creators, people were just going along, you know, and it was really, really bothering me because that's not the American spirit. And I felt like I needed to kind of shift into, you know, the basics, liberty, you know, freedom, you know, the free speech, things like this that we all were taking for granted for so many years. But we didn't realize, or many of us didn't realize, I realized it, but many people didn't realize that the powers that were in charge, not just Democrats, but mostly Democrats, were tightening the noose, let's say. We're squeezing their grip tighter and tighter, tighter and tighter on your liberty. And then, wouldn't you know, while President Trump was in office, we had the biggest restrictions of freedoms that I can point to since, like, I mean, I guess World War II, when they were locking up Japanese people just for being Japanese, you know, and they changed the rules and they did all, you know, all the horrible stuff they did during those Japanese internment camps. And see, that's another part of my problem is the way my brain works. I'm not a historian. I'm not trained or anything. I didn't go to school for it, but I'm fascinated by it. So I have studied a lot of history because I do know that history tends to, if not completely repeat itself, it rhymes, right? There's similarities. When X happens, you know, Y and Z is going to follow or whatever. And that's the point. I had to do it. I got into it. I put my toe into the political waters. And then once I was in, I was all the way in. I was in the deep end. And many times I was over my head. Okay. I'm not going to lie, because again, I'm not a full-time political analyst, nor would I want to be, because I think I would be too angry all the time. I'd be, you know, constantly telling my wife, like, oh God, did you hear what they did here on this, you know, and that. I don't want to live that life. I want to be, you know, I want to be peaceful. I want to be, you know, until I can't be anymore. Okay. That's the point. there's a point you could push me far enough that I wouldn't be peaceful anymore. But, you know, like say another COVID comes out and they start doing all this stuff with the, you know, locking down the media and stuff. Of course I'm going to resist. I'm going to push back because history repeats itself and people tend to react the same way to different things. So during my introspection in the past, you know, I don't know, this has actually been going on for about a month. I've been thinking, like, what do I do, man? I've tried here recently because let me get to the point that I'm trying to make. I think the hands-on channel is still so heavily shadow banned for the things that I've said, I may not ever be able to break out of that. And so I've been trying to decide, what do I do? Do I just give up? Do I keep going and just keep watching my channel get less and less subscribers and less traction and putting out videos where 200 people watch them out of 32,000 people or whatever it is now? And I appreciate every one of you guys. And I want you, like me, when I subscribe to a channel, that means I want to see more of their content. YouTube is deciding for you that you're not going to see my content. They're unsubscribing people. I've heard that so many times that I don't even know what to tell people when they say that. I'm just like, well, I'm sorry, subscribe again. You know, maybe it was something wrong, a glitch in the algorithm or something, you know. I mean, it can't be a coincidence with as many people as I've heard saying they've been unsubscribed, or they'll click the bell notification and all the other BS that every creator asks you to do. I don't put stupid intros in my videos because I hate stupid intros when people do that stuff. It's just, and I don't get it, man. So either, I mean, there's a possibility that I'm just that out of touch. I'm just that different than everybody else. I don't think that's it, though, because I get a lot of really positive feedback. Even on the videos that don't do well, I don't really get a lot of negative feedback anymore. And I think that's partly because YouTube doesn't promote my channel anymore. So let's get to the point. Am I quitting the channel? No, I won't give up. I'm not quitting. I'm not swearing off talking about politics, but I'm certainly going to try to get back into the shallow end of the pool because, again, I don't want to live there. I don't want to live in the deep end where I'm constantly, I make a video and I think it's great and I think it's going to do well, and then either YouTube bans it outright because they don't want that opinion out there, or they don't allow people to see it, which is sort of like, it always takes my mind back to that, you know, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear it, did it make a sound? I'm here to make waves, man. I ain't here to make a little broken twig sound out in the forest. I want you guys that want to be part of the channel to be able to see what I'm thinking, what I'm doing, what I'm working on, right? But YouTube doesn't want that anymore. So that leaves me at an impasse here. I'm like, well, what do I do? You know, what kind of videos do I make? Some people want to see political stuff. Some people want to see hands-on channel stuff, which is what I originally did. So I guess I'm saying all of this stuff to tell you this. My plan in the future is I'm not necessarily going to break the channel up, but I'm going to back off of the political content because I think all it does is anger people and divide the country further. And I don't know, honestly, as wide as we're already divided and the vast differences in basic morality and the way we view humans and animals and the earth and all this other stuff, I don't know that we're ever going to be on the same side as the other people. But I do tend to think this. I want feedback on all of this stuff, guys, so let me know if you agree with this. But I do tend to think that people that like to work on their own things and like to, most of the preppers, not all, there's a big group of hippie preppers that, you know, they're all into veganism and that side of things, okay? So there are groups like that out there, but, you know, prepper type stuff, I'm still going to do that. My most requested videos, and I'm highly flattered and a little bit embarrassed because I'll be honest, when I put the videos out, I wasn't even sure that I should do it, but the survival scenario series, people seem to love that. I want to do more of those. I want to be, you know, and some of those are going to get political, but only a little bit. I'm going to try to be less political, okay? That's the point. I'm going to try to make a more general ideas of, okay, here's what you do in this situation, you know, or here's what I would do in this situation. And that was one of the great little successes. But even those, I mean, they should really have 3 or 4 times the viewership that they do, but they're being suppressed. Everything I do is being suppressed. And I'm just tired of it, guys. I'm to the point where, again, I was thinking about quitting. I was thinking about, or starting a whole different channel and just not even saying anything or connecting anything to the hands-on channel, because I'm worried that I've tainted myself and my channel in the eyes of YouTube, that they're not going to let me succeed anywhere, no matter what I do. Okay? That's what I'm worried about. And I don't know. I don't have the answers to any of this stuff. I'm just a guy out here trying, man. I'm just trying to share my knowledge, and that's what I want to get back to here on the channel, is just talking more about like things that I think, maybe it's an easy thing. Like, I've got this lawnmower. You guys can't see it. It's right here off camera, but this lawnmower, I'm going to fix it up. And it was given to me. I don't know what's wrong with it. Maybe nothing's wrong with it. I just have to figure it out and, probably change the oil and do some maintenance and stuff like that. And I got to remember that while that stuff's all really easy for me because I've done it a million times, there's a new homeowner out there that had to buy their first lawnmower that's having problems like this, and they don't know what to do. So that's hard to stay focused on too, because I think that everybody knows what I know. And see, that's the problem. Even when I'm doing political stuff, I think everybody's on the same wavelength as me, and it's just not true. Okay? Another thing that happened years ago that really kind of changed my perspective on everything was, I live in a very red state, in a very red area where, it always votes red, right? And I hate the red thing, but we have to use it because that's what they use. Because I don't like commie red, be honest with you. But anyway, back into what I was saying. Something happened, and this big change was coming to this part of the county that I live in. It was enough where a lot of people got into an uproar about it, but not nearly enough to actually affect change. And as I was meeting my neighbors and getting to know them, where they stand politically, I was alarmed at how many of them lined up with Democrats and the Democratic policy, okay? I was alarmed at how many people in this red place that I live in around me. It wasn't nearly as red as I thought. That's what I'm trying to say. And I'm sure it's that way in your family. I'm sure it's that way in your neighborhood. Now, does that mean I have to keep all of my opinions and things like that to myself? No, certainly not in public, because they don't have the advantage of owning the platform like YouTube does. What do I wish? I wish YouTube would go back to, if subscribers subscribe to the channel, that means they want to see the videos, and they show the subscribers those videos. And if the subscribers watch enough time on those videos, then those videos are viewed by YouTube as popular videos, and then they promote those on the main page, and allows people, it's an even playing field, instead of this, well, if you're a certain diversity, or if you're a certain sexual preference, or any of this stuff, then we're going to give you front page of the trending page, or whatever the hell it's called. And I'm not even wanting to be on there. That's my point. I just want a fair shake. That's all I've ever wanted in life. It's hard to get that, but because life ain't fair. And certainly it ain't fair here on YouTube if you're of a certain political leaning, conservative or libertarian, or anything that opposes the predominant Mockingbird media narrative. So, and we've discussed all of that stuff at length, and of course not many people saw it because YouTube banned it. So if you want to help me out, go watch some of my older videos. Tell me, hey, you missed the mark here. Maybe you should have put a better thumbnail up, or maybe you should have had a sensational title. And see, that's part of the trouble. I see it. I can see it on the YouTube homepage when I go there. I look and I see all the videos that are just a plain, like a dude in a shop like this, and hardly anyone clicks on those. But if it's a big sensational headline or something like, you won't believe what this master mechanic taught me, a technique that only a 50-year-old mechanic would know. I could do shit like that all the time, but that's not genuine. That's not real. That's not authentic. So I refuse to do that. And see, that may be part of my problem, And again, I'm not really wanting I'm trying to think of somebody like he just retired. What's his name? Demolition Ranch, the guy that runs Demolition Ranch. I've watched that channel for years and years and years. And I've watched that guy do crazy stuff that maybe in the beginning, some of that stuff probably should have been banned just for safety things, because if other people were emulating that, then they could get hurt. But they allowed it for a long, long time. And then all of a sudden they cracked down on guns. They didn't like guns anymore. So then they kind of banned him, but then he kind of morphed into other areas and did other things. But he had developed a big enough following at that point that he had power with YouTube. And the guy has continued to get richer and richer and richer and richer. And I don't even want that. That's not what I want. Imagine that guy. He probably can't go to a store in Texas without somebody being like, oh, hey, it's Demolition Ranch, man, do the thing. Nobody wants that. It'd be like being a rock star or a Hollywood celebrity or something. You'd never have any anonymity or privacy anywhere you went. I don't want that. And you look behind me, you're like, why does he have his tags covered up? And I might have thought that before I became a YouTube creator as well. But I have my tags covered up because I don't want people knowing where the hell I am. It's a scary world. I don't want them knowing who I am. It's that scary of a world. And I see people that give it all away. And they don't understand how easily these people could see something that you have, and they want that bad enough that they track you down with Google Satellite, and they dox you or something, or much worse, they come and they break into your house and whatever. There's people like that out there, okay? And I see so many people on YouTube just giving it all away, and I'm just like, oh my God, they have no idea what they're giving up. Anonymity is, to me, one of the most important things there is, the ability to remain anonymous. And that's part of the gray man theory that we've talked about in great depth as it relates to prepping and stuff like that. And even that, I've kind of taken a bit of a hiatus on talking about prepping stuff. And you might be thinking, oh man, he don't even care about prepping anymore because Trump's in there. That's not it at all. That's not it at all. I feel like I have already talked about most of the extent of my knowledge, and I don't like being repetitive. I don't like talking about the same stuff over and over and over. Like certain other, let's just say, maple leaf preppers, okay? I can't tell you how much it frustrates me to see certain prepping channels every single day with a sensational headline of this is it, we're gonna die, okay? And I'm not saying that I haven't ever done that. I've done it. I've had to do it because I thought maybe if I see everyone else doing it, I have to try it, and it worked. And then I didn't feel good about it. Okay? I felt bad about it. I felt ashamed of myself for misleading people, and I refuse to do it. I won't participate. So I want this to be organic. I don't want help from other people other than you guys. If you think my videos are good and you like my stuff, yeah, share the channel or whatever. That's cool, man. I appreciate it. But otherwise, I don't want fake views. I don't want fake subscribers. I don't want any of that stuff. I want organic, natural, grassroots stuff. Come here, kitty. Come here. You're climbing all over my stuff. You're about to knock something over. Come here. Here she is. She is pretty cute. Little black kitty, little female. But yeah, we didn't need it. And somebody has done something because she's got a bare patch on her belly. And I don't know if that means she's been fixed or what. But yeah, all of a sudden this cat shows up. We asked everybody around. Of course, nobody would claim it, so yeah, didn't need another kitten around, that's for sure. And the cat drives my dog nuts. My dog just wants to chase this little cat because of the way they move and everything. And I'm sure my dog is protesting. She's like, "Hey, we already have 2 house cats. We don't need another one." She don't get along with cats very well. So now she's not mean to them, but she likes to. She wants to play with them, but they don't think it's playing. So anyway. Yeah, I've just been thinking about a lot of different stuff and trying to determine what the best path forward is and how I can get out of this. So here recently, you've probably noticed I haven't done much political stuff. The last few videos anyways, most of my stuff here lately has just been like, I've fixed my washing machine. I thought that was something maybe people might want to know about. you know, things like that. I fixed my Chevy truck, and I was working on that, and that actually broke through the shadow ban. I couldn't believe it. I actually got like 2,700 views on that within like a week or something. But even then, that's nothing in YouTube, in YouTube world, in viewership, okay? I mean, I had some videos, I had a few that got 20 or 30,000 views in one day, and that's something. That's when you start making some revenue and stuff like that. But 2,000 or 3,000 views per video, that's not enough, to be honest, to keep going at it. And you know, my plan was, and this really wasn't my plan in the beginning, I just did it as a side thing. I was just like, I'll just do this on the side because it's kind of fun and I like doing it. You know, when something comes up, I'll do it. And then all of a sudden I started realizing that when I didn't put a video up every week, YouTube punished me. I would get less and less views on that video. And I'm like, this is weird. So then I started putting them up once a week. And what I didn't like about that was sometimes they were forced. Sometimes I had to come up with a video, okay? Instead of it just happening organically, I had to be like, let me think of something that the guys would want to see and, you know, maybe would respond to. And that's not the right way. That's not the right way, because they're forced. And I can just tell that I'm not as into it as I would have been had I done it on my own time frame rather than doing it on there. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to, if 2 videos come out in a week, that's cool. If 1 video only comes out in a month, that's cool too. It just depends on what I'm doing. I'm not going to be a slave to a algorithm that I can't even figure out, and they won't tell me, they won't even give me a roadmap anymore of how to get out of the doghouse that I'm in, because they put me in the dunce hat, guys, and they're not taking it off of me. I thought by now they'd lift the boot off my throat, but they're not doing it. And so, I don't know. Give me your suggestions. You know, I'm thinking about starting another channel, but it's not going to have anything to do with politics. It's going to have everything to do with my love of old classic cars and mechanical things like that. But it's going to be more focused on like classic cars and trucks. And in fact, you know, a little sneak peek of whatever I may do. I bought a truck yesterday and just got it home just for this channel. The whole thing, I bought this truck just so that I could make a different channel and see, and okay, so here's my plan right now as it stands. This could change, but my plan is I'll make the same video, I'll put it on the hands-on channel, but I'll also at the same time put it on the new channel. And the new channel is going to have 0 subscribers and 0 viewership. But recently, YouTube announced that they're going to start helping new channels out that aren't getting the proper amount of views. And this really offended me as well. It's like every time they've done something to help people out, I've been just over the threshold or just under the threshold to meet their requirements. So it's just a slap in the face every time. But recently I heard that YouTube is going through the news. I didn't hear it from YouTube. I heard it through the news that YouTube is going to start promoting upcoming new channels right alongside the really big ones where they were just showing you on the homepage. They were just showing you all of the 100,000, you know, million plus views a day, all of these super popular channels. And that was not fair, obviously. But instead of making it fair and going, hey, we're going to start promoting some other channels that have been suppressed by our algorithm and some other channels that, you know, haven't been getting the traction because we have been artificially holding them back. Instead of doing that, no. Now they're going to pick all the people who are just coming in and, you know, just getting a start. And, you know, you don't get, not that this is the primary motivator, but you don't get any pay from AdSense until you get a certain number. I think it's 1,000 subscribers and a certain amount of viewership and stuff. So this other secondary channel where I'm basically just going to duplicate things is really just another experiment on top of the experiment that I'm already running. I want to see how much YouTube is shadow banning me, okay? Now, I'm not saying I'm going to put all of the content that's here on Hands-On over on the new channel. And I don't even know what to call it yet. I'm going to be working on old cars. I don't really want to do restoration, at least not at first. I don't want to do full restoration because that's too involved and it would take me way too long to shoot a single video on something like that. But I want to do more honestly, my inspiration are people like Roadkill Roadkill was probably the first one that I ever saw. When they started doing the Roadkill show, I just thought that was the greatest show on YouTube. I watched it every time a new show came out. It was one of the first series in years that I really looked forward to watching. And I would like to try to recreate something similar to that, although it probably won't be at first. It won't be as much out on the road type stuff. You know, it'll probably mostly be here in my shop, and maybe what I'll do is I'll get a rig running that looks like, you know, a piece of junk or whatever that someone else has given up on. You know, the ones, these cars that are out in the fields that people forget about. Maybe I'll be lucky enough to find that little old lady from Pasadena, you know, 57 Chevy that's been sitting in the grandma's garage for, you know, the last 40 years or whatever, and it's covered with dust, you know, that kind of thing. That stuff excites me. You know, I have gasoline in my veins, and I love V8 engines, and I love old classic cars that are 90% mechanical and hardly any modern electronics on them at all, with the exception of like the stereo and, you know, maybe an HEI ignition. But other than that, I don't want any computers. I'm tired of computer vehicles. I just want to go back to basics, back to things that I understand, that I can fix. And that's part of the deal. I'm trying to change my life to where I focus my energy, my everything on things that I can actually make a change or an effect on, an outcome. And that's why I love mechanics work and stuff like that, is because when you have a problem with a lawnmower that you know nothing about, you have to figure that out, right? You have to be like, oh, what's the deal? Has it got, you know, bad carburetor, bad spark plug? You know, most of it's really easy and simple like that. But when you start getting into more complex systems, like, you know, oh God, the turbo, what is it called? Turbo hydrostatic, I can't remember what it's called. The turbo 350 transmission. That's wizardry. I don't mess with those. I'd take that to a shop to have that mess with, probably, you know. So there's certain things I'm not going to do, but I want to kind of create a fun show where it's like, hey, we're working in the shop. And what I'd like to do eventually is bring in one of my buddies, really my best friend, other than my wife. He's my best friend, and we work together on stuff like this all the time. And we cut up and we laugh, and we, you know, sometimes we cuss when we bust our knuckles or whatever. Or, you know, it's just, to me, that's the best stuff there is, because it's relatable. It's a couple of guys, you know, and maybe sometimes it might go a little bit political, just because we're both of the same, you know, we're cut from the same cloth as far as politics and stuff goes. But I doubt it. That's not the main focus. It'll probably be mostly like, what the hell's wrong with this thing? I can't figure it out. What do you think? You know? And I think that's good stuff. Let me know if you think you would like to watch a show like that. I mean, I know it works. There's another guy that I've been watching, Vice Grip Garage. Now, I like the guy. I think he's probably a pretty nice guy. He seems to be a pretty good mechanic. I can't argue that. The stuff he does, I've seen him crank out some stuff that's really nice, and I've seen some other stuff that's like, I don't think I'd have done that, you know, just because I'm too much of a perfectionist, you know, and I want to try to back off of some of that and let some stuff go. Things don't have to be perfectly restored. They just have to be, you know, reliable, good, and something you can drive while you're restoring. That'd be the plan. But anyway, that's kind of my plan. I need help. I need you guys to let me know what you think. I mean, should I go ahead and start a third channel where all I do is talk about politics? I don't know. Maybe if I get enough requests on that. But I'll be honest with you, if I do that, it's going to be a lot more hit and miss, because there's going to be times that I just don't want to mess with it, because I don't want to focus my mind on stuff that I have no control over. Now, does that mean I want to bury my head like an ostrich and not know? No, I definitely want to know. But I don't want to get so passionate and tied up in things that I can't change. Hopefully that makes sense to you. You know, and maybe I can make more change by being less direct about it. That's what I'm planning on. So I want your feedback. We've gone on way too long here, way longer than I planned on, but I had to explain myself to you guys. I wanted you to know where I'm at, and this cat won't leave me alone. So I apologize the distraction, but I got to get out of here, and before this cat claws my leg up trying to climb up here and get some more pettings. But Anyway, appreciate it. Let me know. This cat doesn't have a name either. I also need a name for the new whatever channel I'm going to do. I've been racking my brain about it. Every time I think of a good name, I go type it in on YouTube and search the channels, and someone else has already taken it, even though most of these channels don't have very many views. So I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know if that means they have it tied up forever or what, but the one I was really wanting to use was one of my favorite sayings. I've used it on a couple of videos over the years. I wanted to name it Suck, Squeeze, Bang, Blow, but I'm not sure everyone would understand. Maybe some people might think, what is this, some kind of a porno or something? Yeah, the cat just bumped the camera. You're not going to be a very good film helper, are you? You're just all over the place. But anyway, as you can see, I have to pay this kitten some attention because she's wanting to play. We'll see you guys later. Let me know what you think. If you got a suggestion for this little female black cat, let me know what you think for a name, because she doesn't have one yet, but I can tell she's going to end up being a shop cat. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Let me know what you think about all this stuff. And until then, we'll see you next time.